What's up, everybody? It's Raphael Garcia from MMA Ratings. Finally back for another podcast. It's been about a month. Been a pretty hectic month at the same time, but I haven't had the opportunity to sit down and tape another show, even though a lot has been going on in the world of mixed martial arts. We have a lot to talk about. Obviously, UFC 188 last night, and just some other things that are going on in the world of combat sports. So with that. I'm looking to make some changes to the show, looking to add another co-host, and I'm going to start, kind of expanding on some of the things that we're talking about. Definitely talking about the other areas of combat sports, boxing, maybe some pro wrestling in there, glory, and all that good stuff. And maybe start talking about some other sports as well, just because I feel like I guess the professional sports entertainment industry is all kind of linked together. So there's always some value to continue talking about everything. So obviously, we're going to start today's show by talking about UFC 188 last night. And man, who saw this coming? I'm going to bet, outside of the gamblers, non-gamblers, most people probably figured that Cain Velasquez was going to go in there and beat Fabricio Verdun throughout the cage, but that is exactly what did not happen. Uh, the Brazilian pulled out a pretty impressive win to become the undisputed UFC heavyweight champion. He finished Cain Velasquez via guillotine choke at just over 2 minutes in the third round. But even though before then, he's basically beating Cain Velasquez at his own game. He was out striking Cain. Cain was, fighting back, definitely using pressure coming forward, but Verdun was just moving very well. He kept rocking Cain with some good straights and good jabs, and the Mexican Americans didn't really have the answer to how his opponent fought him. All throughout the night, in almost an annoying fashion, they kept talking about the altitude, the altitude, the altitude. They were fighting in Mexico City, but as annoying as it got, that may be a good point to bring up for how this fight went down. Because Cain definitely looked tired for what may have been the first time in his career. Now it's been years since he fought, so I believe that kind of plays a part into it as well, because you just never see guys take such an extended time off and come back and fight effectively in the cage. But he definitely he looked like a different man. I think all those injuries are catching up to him. I think he's had three knee injuries so far. I think they're all catching up to him and they're causing him to slow down. He just did not look like the same fighter that bulldozed so many guys. And on top of that, he's been in some wars as well. The two fights with JDS definitely left him a changed man. And if we look back further than that, even Czech Congo rocked him a couple times in their fight. So Cain is definitely worse for the wear. He's been fighting a very long time, and I think he's finally slowing down, and the way he performed last night showed that. But let's talk about the new champion in Werdum, who definitely just went out there and did what he needed to do. He just completely outboxed him. When the fight went to the ground, he was never placed in any real danger. He locked up that guillotine choke very, very like it was textbook like. That's exactly what jiu-jitsu players are taught to do if they're facing a wrestler. When someone shoots in like that with his neck out, and he got caught. Not even caught necessarily, because that implies that uh, Verdun got lucky, because that was just technique there. Arm under the throat, arm in guillotine, which is very hard to get. And Cage was forced to tap after a couple seconds. So I'm definitely happy with what I saw there. We're at a point in time in the heavyweight division where things are just very weird. Because here we have um, Verdun, who's the new champion. This is his second stint in the UFC. A guy who a lot of people kind of overlook as someone who's a good heavyweight but not a great heavyweight. But now he's the world champion, and we're looking at a point in time where the two top contenders can really be Andre Arlovski and Ben Rothwell, a former IFL champion, and then you have the former UFC heavyweight champion from almost 10 years ago. So, like, what is really, like, man, I guess everything really is cyclical. because we're looking at a situation where we could be seeing a fight between one with we're doing one of those two men coming up in the near future. Going down the card, Eddie Alvarez took a interesting split decision over Gilbert Melendez. This was a good fight. I wrote a piece on MMA Ratings that talked about why I wish this fight happened in 2011. Because that was back in the time when Melendez was the Strikeforce champion and Alvarez held the Bellator belt. These two guys used to take shots at each other all the time. So we finally get the fight 4 years later. It was worth the wait because these two guys definitely had a good showing. I was definitely happy with what I saw for their 15 minutes of fighting. Melendez definitely took the first round. It ended up being a split decision, and I don't see too many people arguing the decision. Um, which is pretty interesting because a lot of times when there's a split decision, there's usually a split down the line of who won. But Eddie Alvarez definitely did win. He won this fight and won it in a pretty interesting fashion. If you look at the fight metric stats, Menendez is definitely the more active competitor, and I think a lot of that activity broke down to the first round. Let me see if I can find it. So those stats aren't available yet, but according to yeah, here you go. So according to fight metric numbers, Melendez landed 37 of 129 significant strikes, 93 of 187 total, compared to Alvarez's 31 of 64 in significant strikes and 43 of 79. Now, what may have kind of swayed the fight is that Alvarez scored three takedowns, three of his 11 takedowns, as compared to none for Melendez. But when you break it down and look at it round by round, I think you can definitely see where the judges begin to get swayed. Round one was definitely Melendez's fight. He hurt Alvarez early, and he caused that injury to his nose where you saw his eyes eventually start swelling up. But Gilbert was definitely more active as he threw 53% or excuse me, he threw 53 strikes, landed 15 of those in this round, in compared to Alvarez's 17. Now Eddie's been a notorious slow starter. Even when he fought Michael Chandler the first time, and Donald, or he's a notorious slow starter. He either goes one of two ways. He starts very slowly and then picks up steam as the fight goes on, or he comes out really hard and then runs out of gas. So he took the latter option with this fight here, and he started out very slowly. Or excuse me, the former option started out very slowly against Eddie Alvarez. Excuse me, against Gilbert Melendez. My mind's all over the place there. In round two, this is when you started to see a change here. Melendez was still more active when it came to a strike, but he only landed six significant strikes and 26 total strikes as compared to Eddie landing 9 of 17 for 62%, and then 18 of 27 of his total strikes. Where it started changing is this is when Eddie started wrestling. He scored his first takedown here, and then will go on and score two more in the third round. He was also very active in that round too. Um, but what kind of stands out is that even though Melendez was throwing more strikes, Alvarez is landing more effectively. So this comes around to that argument. What's more important, aggression versus accurate striking? In my opinion, it's always been accurate striking, just because you're the one landing the blows. And this fight here, Alvarez is definitely the more accurate striker for 3 rounds, and he implemented more of an MMA game. So I'm not upset with this victory here. I'm more surprised. I picked Gilbert Melendez to get the win, but it's a good win for Alvarez here. We'll see what happens next with him. I think it kind of shakes up the division as a whole. I don't think he's ever going to become UFC light heavyweight or UFC lightweight champion, just because I don't see him beating the guys at the top of the weight class. I don't see him beating a guy like I think it will be interesting to see him fight like maybe a Miles Jury. But I don't see him. He's not going to beat Donald Cerrone. He has the opportunity to. He has a chance to. Be. I don't think he's going to be able to deal with Donald at this point. I don't know. I couldn't necessarily see him beating a Vincent Henderson. I would love to see that fight. You know, that fight was originally supposed to happen, but it was nixed due to injury. But I would definitely still love to see that fight if they can get Henderson to come down from welterweight. So yeah, we'll see what happens. There are some good options out there for him. Kelvin Gastelum, Mercy killed Nate Marquardt. It was pretty sad watching this. You know, I was a fan of Nate. I've always enjoyed his career, but as I was talking about, he's one of those guys whose career has completely changed since the more understanding about PEDs and MMA came has come to light. He definitely didn't look as effective, and he just looked tentative, like he didn't want to pull the trigger, and Gaston just pounced all over him. The fight could have been stopped earlier, but thankfully they stopped it on the score. I think that's the last time we see Nate fight. I hope it is. He's done great in the sport. He's had more than 60 professional fights, so it's time for him to walk away. Kelvin Gastelum, on the other hand, he's talking about trying to make welterweight again, but he was 10 pounds over last time, so I don't think he's going to get that shot to make that cut again. I wish he did have the ability to make weight and stay there, but unfortunately, he just hasn't been able to do that. I think he could be a potential contender at that weight class. The welterweight is definitely stacked. He's probably one of the last Austrian fighter winners who looked really good. We're going to talk about one other guy from Austrian fighter Latin America later, but uh, Gastelum definitely looked really good in this fight here. But I hope he just finds a way to find the right weight class, stay there, and make weight on a consistent basis. That brings me to Yair Lopez, or excuse me, Yair Rodriguez. I'm thinking off his left. This guy on the show, him and Charles Rosa, definitely deserve fight of the night there because they just went out there and went for it. Yair definitely looked more aggressive. He looked very flashy. He was just going out there, looked like he was just throwing everything to the wind. He got tired as the fight went on, which gave Rosa the opportunity to come in and start putting in some work. But this is the type of fight. This is like maybe one of the better fights of the year so far. Just because these guys went out there and put it all on the line. I was pleased with what I saw. I was pleased with what I saw from both of these guys. And I'm looking forward to what's next for them. Yair may be the only guy to come out of tough Latin America that's really like a big name worth watching. He's definitely like a big name worth watching. But this is just one of those opportunities where hopefully they can continue to grow the sport in Mexico, and this guy can slowly become a star there, and maybe become a bigger name across the sport as a whole. Tisha Torres and Angela Hill, you know, this is definitely probably the worst women's fight since, or one of the worst ones since uh, women's MMA has been introduced to the UFC. But that's just the nature of the beast. Plenty of men have had bad fights in the octagon, so they shouldn't be quote unquote penalized for this. But it was definitely a tough fight to watch for most of the event. You know, yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that for those two. Henry Cejudo, Chico Camus had a very good fight there. Some individuals I was watching the fight with definitely thought Chico did earn the more on the scorecard than the 30-27 um, scores that he received, but it was definitely a good test for Cejudo. Chico was able to defend a lot of the takedowns. I think he may have stopped all of them. Let me look really quickly. So that was a big point in the fight there. No, so Henry had one takedown. He was scored one takedown by fight metric, and that is one out of how many attempts? 15. So like that's very telling there for Henry, who is known for that like that wrestling is supposed to be his bread and butter. He's only able to score one takedown, so that makes you wonder if Cejudo is definitely that next and he becomes at this point in time. I don't believe he definitely went out there and got the win. I was a fan of Escudero when he was on the show. When he did win the show, when he got cut, it was tough watching him get cut, but I'm glad he finally was able to come back. So that was a good win for him. He's another name that Mexican MMA to be built around. Patrick Williams and Alejandro Guerrero. That was pretty. It was a pretty ridiculous fight there. That first uppercut, which caused Perez to stumble backwards and allowed Williams to jump right into that choke, was crazy. I always enjoy seeing that in MMA and watching him lock at that choke that put Alejandro to sleep was out of this world. And like, even like looking at, man, it was scary to see the way Perez looked like slumped up against the cage, like he looked like a dead body. But it was definitely a highlight reel moment there. Maybe one of the top submissions of the year so far, just because of the way it was executed. But a big win for Patrick Williams. A good way for him to rebound off of that debut against Chris Steele. Johnny Case beat Francisco Lee Trevino. That's what I'm gonna call him from now on. He had that bad eye poke, and he was able to kind of weather the storm there. I'm a fan of Johnny Case. I think he's going to be someone interesting to watch over time. And I hope his eye isn't too injured. But that was a good win for him there too. So UFC 188 as a whole, I was definitely pleased by what I saw. It was a good card. Now, most of the people were talking junk about it just because it wasn't. It, it was a Mexican card, and a lot of people were kind of down on it, thinking it wasn't going to be that good. But this was another good show by the UFC. It had some pretty interesting um, some more UFC events this year, and we're going to talk about that going forward too as well. So second, and I'm going to come back and talk about the versus Okay, I'm going to be pretty brief about this weekend's UFC event just because it's heading over to Berlin in Germany. It's going to feature a lot of people from that part of the world. So that saying, I don't know a lot of these names. Like looking at the fight listing here, I think I may be familiar with obviously the champion and the challenger. I'm familiar with the co-main, Nick Backstrom and Noah Lahad. I'm familiar with him. Nick Hine, I'm familiar with him as well. But I think that may be it. This is a fight pass event. It's a title fight. Oh, I'm familiar with Nikki Thrills as well. But it's a fight pass event, and it's the first title bout on Fight Pass. So I'm definitely glad that they're doing that. They know the pay per view works. I would have liked to see her as a co-main event for a pay per view, but it is what it is. They're featuring her in her own home country, so that's definitely awesome. But I think Joanna is going to brutalize Jessica Penne. I think she's going to brutalize Jessica Penne just because she's one of my favorite fighters to watch right now. Just because her striking is so fluid, it's so technical that she just beats people up, and I just think that Penne is down much the same way that Carlos Sparza couldn't in a in the same light. So I'm just looking for another brutalization. There's going to be a lot of technical Thai boxing from. I mean, she's a multiple time world champion. Now she's an MMA fighter now, so I'd like to just definitely see. I'm looking forward to watching at least just the main event and seeing her uh, continue to perform. Hopefully, she does become a great. UFC just signed. She Fadea, um, yeah, that's something to definitely look forward to as well. Tatsuya Kawajiri is fighting Dennis Weaver in the co-main event. Kawajiri's always been someone I've been a fan of, so I'm hoping that he's able to pull out the bout there. He's someone I've always been a fan of just because he has that violent fight style. I think he's going to be someone. I think that's going to be a pretty good fight going forward this week in previous co-main event. That's really like the only value in that card for me. But if you definitely have UFC Fight Pass, I think that this is something that you should sit down and watch for sure. Something this one with Kimbo Slice and Frank Sherlock sitting at the top of the card, and everyone I've talked to about it, they're not necessarily excited because this is MMA. They're excited because this is a train wreck waiting to happen for no other lack of other cause, and that's exactly what it's going to be. I don't see this for either. Kimbo Slice has pushed himself out, and Ken Shamrock can't get a hold of a limb to finish him. That's really what it's going to do. It's going to go straight downhill. And it's going to be bad. It's not. I'm not going to say this is one of those things that's going, oh, this is horrible for the sport, but it's definitely going to look ugly. So that's the main event there. I don't care too much about it beyond that, but I'm probably going to watch. I'm not even going to lie. The Chiquio Fier and Daniel White show, in my opinion, is the big fight of the night. I'm a big Pitbull fan. I think he just goes out there and he fights in a very violent fashion. He's very aggressive with his striking. So I expect to see him get another win. I think he's one of the better featherweights outside of the sport. He's probably the best featherweight outside of UFC. Excuse me. He's definitely the best fighter on the Bellator roster. in my opinion. I think that this is going to be another opportunity for him to continue showcasing that. Bobby Lashley's fighting, I definitely always enjoy watching him. I think he's just because I'm a big pro wrestling fan. Daniel Strauss and Jimmy Corrales is also on the card. Michael Chandler is making his return. I look forward to seeing that. So there is some value on the card here. It's definitely free MMA. Never have a problem with free MMA. So if you're home Friday and you have nothing to do, you got a sports bar you want to watch, definitely tune in and watch this fight here. I think it's going to be it'll be a pretty good showcase. It'll be a bunch of tomfoolery, seeing hearing them hype up Kimbo and Ken, but that is what it is. So let's touch on a few of the news stories from the world of MMA that I was unable to touch on while I was gone. Obviously, the biggest one is probably the UFC drug testing and marketing policy. They've really become there really is an effort to stamp out the use of performance enhancing drugs in MMA, and I'm glad to see that. We saw Mike Whiteman just got suspended for 2 years for his uh, failed drug test, and the UFC has implemented strict standards that will be all be monitored or all be regulated by the USDA. They're not going to do any of it themselves. They're going to be more out of competition testing and harsher penalties for those who are caught. So that says a lot to me. I'm just interested in seeing what the results will be. Be over time. I'm definitely interested in seeing what happens there. That came out a couple weeks ago, and we're already seeing a change. Guys, I mean, Ben Roethlisberger was like pointing at Cain Velasquez, saying that he's on something. And with this performance, you may never know. But there's going to be some big changes in the sport just because of this policy here. I think we're going to see a lot of ramifications for an extended period of time. The marketing plan for fighters, obviously, they're trying to teach fighters how to better market themselves, but I think this is better run by the managers. The managers need to do a better job of teaching their fighters how to treat themselves as real professional athletes. I'm always talking about that, how important management is in mixed martial arts, and even though it's lacking at this current point in time, these guys really need to step up and do more for their fighters. With this Reebok deal coming into place, they definitely the fighters are losing power. That's been I think it's just something that we're going to continue seeing. It's going to be a situation that we continue seeing from start to finish. Just because right now these managers, I'm going to flat say, aren't really doing their job to the best of what we see in other professional sports. Another story that was interesting to me is the fact that Floyd Mayweather has made $300 million in the last year. Highest paid, the list of highest paid athletes. So that obviously his anyway. He made 300 million for his uh, for his recent boxing match bout. And on top of that, the guy in second place is Manny Pacquiao, who made his money because of Floyd Mayweather. So that just shows his power there. He's someone who, he's an example of what of combat sports. He's the highest paid athlete of all time. Yes, I understand people hate him. Blah blah blah. I don't care. I'm not saying he's a great person. I'm saying he's a smart sports businessman who has made more money than anyone else has in sports. If people need to try to innovate that. Tonight is the WWE Money in the Bank. I'm a big fan of pro wrestling, so I don't care if people get mad. I'm going to talk about it here. looking forward to the show. There's been a lot going on in pro wrestling as well. I hope Kevin Owens gets the win, but some of that is discussed neither here nor there. So be sure to catch that. And speaking of promotion, MMA Ratings is always here to let you rank the best fights from every fight card, every event throughout the year. So be sure to go to MMARatings.net to rate the show and just talk about and let us know what fights you think were or sport. And if you want to get to the show, then I'll be back next week. Have a great day, everybody.